Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Midlife, the search for meaning in the middle. I'm your host, Lisa Steadman. Today, y'all, I'm dressed to impress. I don't need to be this dressy for a podcast, but when you meet our guest, you'll know why I'm dressed to impress. Because today we're joined by Sybil Henry, the Style Concierge, and she is a brand image stylist for women. She has been my brand image stylist off and on for years. I owe so much to this incredible human. Sybil, welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here with you. Oh my gosh, we've seen so much together.
It's been a journey.
Here we are on your fabulous podcast, and yet one more stone on our path of all the chapters that we've had. This is so great.
I'm so excited. So y'all, we're in for a treat. This woman is amazing. Like, if you've ever wondered how to show up as your full authentic self with your style, with your body, with your brand, if you've ever looked at someone else who you feel like is fully embodied and you're envious, they've probably worked with Sybil. This is such magical work. So we're getting it, but it's not just work. It's play, it's magic, it's discovery, it's all the things that women deserve in our lives, especially midlife women. So I want to start today, Sybil, for anyone who's listening or watching and might not know, what is a brand image stylist?
Well, a brand image stylist, what I do is I do personal brand. And personal brand, I'll distinguish it this way. There are two paths for styling. There is your personal style, which is, when you're hanging out with your partner, when you're just doing life for you.
Yeah.
And then there's your personal brand, and your brand represents you. It represents the attributes of who you are as a person, your identity of those I am statements. And when you're a brand, it's how you're remembered in the eyes of your audience. So there's two different paths, and women who are either entrepreneurs or corporate executives, everyone has a brand. But when you're building and you want to put yourself out there and you want to be remembered, personal brand styling is a very intentional way to have a visual voice that speaks for you so that people can make an informed choice about who they think you are based on your appearance.
Try not to. So I have this thing that I do, and I'm guilty of it, where I a lot and I ooh a lot because there's so many good nuggets, but I also don't like to step on people's magic. So there was a lot of internal oohs and yeses going on. So this work is transformative. I have personally experienced it many times over. I mean, I think you told me that the first time we worked together was like 2012 or 2013 or something like that. It was over a decade ago. So I do believe in total transparency. I have hired and worked with Sybil multiple times over the years, from brand image styling to photo shoot shopping to photo shoot brand direction. Most recently, we went to Paris together and shopped, and I am wearing some Paris today that we shopped together for. Every time I feel like, and I know this is a truth for the work you do, so it's not specific to me. Every time we do this work together, I am transformed into a more fully realized, embodied, beautiful version of the woman that I am. And I think it's important to clarify, there was nothing wrong with who I was to begin with before I hired Sybil. But when I initially hired her, I identified some challenges that I was having. I never felt like I had anything in my closet to wear that reflected the true essence of who I was at that time, or now I've got that problem licked. But back then it was like I would open the closet, there were lots of clothes I had shopped, but nothing felt like me. And I knew I had a message to share with the world, but I was honestly really afraid of being seen and judged for my weight, my body shape, and specifically for me, you and I have had conversations about the thighs. The thighs were a big part of it. I have lots of stories about the thighs. And as someone who had struggled with eating disorders as a teenager, I really had a shame spiral around food, body image, and style that almost felt like a prison. So instead of a style that reflected my personality that I'm so grateful to have now, or my brand or my power, I opted for clothes I could hide in. I picked a lot of floral prints, which, is not my brand at all, but they had big poofy dresses with big poofy skirts that I could put my hands in my pockets and just kind of hide in. And maybe rock some cool accessories. But it was hiding. It was really hiding. So in working with Sybil and working with you, my friend, I learned how to celebrate my shape, identify and shop for my style, and release a lot of stories of shame and visibility that were holding me back from being seen. So I want to thank you and honor you for that.
Thank you for what you just said. What you just said was, first of all, beautiful. The way you can string together words creates.
And go on and on.
I mean, it is just incredible, from your hearts with so much honesty. And I think what you just said, there's so much there. But what I appreciate the most about you and what you just said is that you share so generously, so honestly. And when you share, you are sharing the story identifiable for millions of women. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
really, what just starting with the first sentence, you said, your journey with, I think it was your body, your style, your food. You called it food addiction, right? And
Well, it was food drama. It was a lot of shame, like, oh, all of it. Yeah.
all of it. And I'm going to add there money stories for many women. I'm not saying that was
Well,
yours,
I had that too.
right? And
Body
so,
and bank accounts.
right? Money, but there's so much there. It's very emotional, it's very personal. So when I do this work with a woman, I feel it's a privilege to have access into her world because I cannot do this work without her allowing me in because we have to
Right.
get real. We have to know what's really going on. And so when you talk about hiding, you were speaking about hiding from an external space. But then there's also internal hiding. And so
I was doing a lot of that.
yeah,
Yeah.
when we don't want to face what is really happening for the reason why we're hiding. So that's why I say over and over, I say style is about so much more than clothes. It really is because it's a bucket, a giant bucket of everything you just described. It really is. And we have a chance and a choice at some point in our lives to empty that bucket, lighten that load, and feel fully free. We all have that opportunity. But when we're hiding, and if we're hiding from ourselves, we're not ready to go into that bucket and pull any of those things out. So we have to be ready. And that's
Ooh.
why I say I cannot style, I can style anyone.
Yes,
Um,
you can. You
well, thank
can.
you. I mean it from a place of I can style any woman who's ready. It requires a readiness for stepping into a next level, a higher place, a higher frequency, and allow yourself the the bigger space to take up more space, to be able to say, stand in your brand proudly and affirm this is who I am without apologies because it is a lot to step into all the things you just said and to
I
stand
know.
there and be judged because we all will be. We're being judged right now,
Right. So
right? It's
be
natural.
judged, but and also be a magnet for the people and opportunities that are meant for us because we are standing so visible and vibrant. Like I was telling you before we hit record, there's too much going on in Lisa's life right now. And I'm trying to slow down because I feel the allotness. But you know what that comes from? That comes from that Paris trip, coming back that we took in the fall, and coming back and standing out in such a way that I am like, I'm just picturing the magnet, like I'm magnetizing all the things. And I need to learn how to manage that. You know, the opportunities and the people and the possibilities are endless. And that's because of how I'm showing up, because of the work we've done. And man, it's a responsibility. So you do have to be ready, because the world will start to see you differently and treat you differently. And that's a beautiful thing. You also need to learn how to adjust to that.
Yes. And you just said something very important. The world, when you are standing in your truth, once you're ready and
Yes.
you're ready to do the work, it takes a lot of courage to be big. You know, no matter how much success you have in your business, to be the personal brand that is aligned with the size and scope of that business, that's a lot, because now it's about you. It's not about just the brand you're representing, whether it's a corporate brand or your personal brand. And it's it's really, I have so much admiration and respect when a woman says yes to herself and she's ready to be larger, you know, to be bigger, to take up that space. And it's just this interesting dynamic that so many, I mean, all the women I work with are giants in their industry. They're big. I mean, you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, you have accomplished a lot. Your family's so proud of you. Your spouse is so proud of you. I mean, you're proud of yourself. There's so
Right.
much, a body of work, a life that has been lived by this stage in life where it's all just full on fabulous. But a lot of women don't match the level of their accomplishments in their personal style of stepping into that level. And I think so much has to do with the culture of growing up as a girl into a woman.
Woo!
It's just, there's just so many reasons, but there's so much there. And when a woman says yes, I'm like, wow, it's courageous. And I give her all I got, because by the time she's
You
ready,
do.
I'm like, let's do it. But I'm doing it based on her North Star of what she wants. And I keep bringing that back to her of what she wants. It's not what I want. I can deliver for her what she wants. And
This
that's exciting.
this is what's so beautiful. I'm so mad that I took my notebook off my desk, because you've given me so many juicy nuggets. I'm pulling something over here. I'm pulling like a property tax statement that I'm just going to write on. Like, um, body of work. I've never, Sybil, we got to put that in your language. Like, what you're doing is creating a brand image style around a woman and her body of work. But like, body and work are such elemental pieces of what you do for women. And it's so amazing to me that the women you work with are so powerful and empowered. And this is not about what's in your bank account.
Yeah.
It's a sense of self. And yet you are so gentle and such a thoughtful, gentle, soulful guide on the journey. So your bigness is soft and gentle and like empathetic and compassionate. And so like and I'm just going to speak from my own experience, while I might be tail spinning about my own shit in a dressing room, you're holding space and like, I got you, girl. Like, it's okay.
Thank you. That is so special. Thank you for that. That's a big compliment. Um, you know, when a woman shares with me her truth and her greatest desire for why she showed up in our space together, I'm going to hold that for her. I've always called myself an oak in the wind. Like, no matter how, nothing's a straight line, right? Any kind of growth and change and stepping outside of where you've been comfortable and now you're ready to step into something else that's new and bigger and next level. It's not like, yeah, I'm fearless, I'm just going for it, you know, especially when it's personal for you. There's moments of, oh my God, I can, this is a lot. And There are, or being triggered in a shopping experience when things don't fit. We've all been there. Or things don't look like the vision you thought it would. And then women tend to blame themselves that
Ooh, the
it's
blame is
wrong with
real.
them. The blame is, yeah, it's in the air, it's thick, right? So,
Yeah.
um, and so for someone to show up at the start, I know that they want it, but I can't be in the stories of fear with them. I cannot, because then I wouldn't be serving them.
Yeah.
I can pause. I cannot have judgment about anything. Like I really truly come in with my heart open and full and not judging. This is a woman who's ready. And so I'm standing with her in readiness. And and I can see the end. I
Yeah.
can see it when
You're so
she's
good at that. I just I just remember the moment in Paris where I had this story when we were shopping together a couple months ago. And it was, I think, our first day of shopping. And it was not going the way I had envisioned.
we'll
And I
get
had
there.
a story that no matter how much work I do on myself, my body, my belief system, I'm still not enough and not worthy enough of shopping in Paris. Like I could have lost weight and I could have, done the work on my head and heart and business and body and bank account and all the things, but I still wasn't good enough for Paris. Nothing was going to fit in Paris. And man, that was painful.
Yeah. We had to have a sit down for that one.
We did. And
Yeah, we had
and
to
you
have a moment and let that go through you and out you. And but we also have to acknowledge it. Like I
yeah.
think it's so important. Uh, like I think of this little box in the lower brain. It's like this little. It has a lid, and when the lid comes open, and all the fears, come out. Um, and if you just take that lid and close it quickly, they're still there.
Yeah.
But I like to expose it, and it's like, okay, well, let's talk about that. And so when we talk about it, we reduce the power of those fears and those stories, and we
Yeah.
bring them into the light, and we normalize it. Like, okay, and now what can we do moving forward? Our next best step of where we're, what we're going to do, and let's look at the truth, you know, and and so it's important. I'm never afraid of a woman in her fear point because
No,
everyone's going to
you
have that
hold
little
such
that little
you
terror
hold
barrier, right? And it
you
happens
hold sacred space for women in their fear, and I don't know how you do it. I'm grateful you do it. And to clarify, we broke through that Paris story and I got a Paris wardrobe.
quickly.
So it's not true.
No, it was not true, and you broke through it so fast, and that is, the truth of you challenged those stories, and you were courageous enough to stay with it until it's just like it passed over us like dark
Yeah,
clouds and then it blew away. But if we had shut that out and we didn't want to talk about it, it would still have been sitting inside of you, and that would have been the frequency that you would have shopped with, and
absolutely.
that does not help you step into where you're going. You gotta get
No,
that out. It's like throwing up. Something's inside of you that's making you feel like your stomach is upset, and you can't walk forward if you're nauseous with the
yeah.
same energy than when you're free.
Woo. So we're all over the place. We haven't even gotten some of the questions. So I do want to start back at the beginning because I think this is a real game changer. The way you start your styling process is called intuitive styling, and it's done over the phone. There is no camera. And I remember when you first told me this, I was like, well, I don't know how this is going to go, but let's try it. And of course, it was masterful. So, can you share how you came to understand that that was your process and what and the value of that process?
That's such a great question. What I know about humans, not just women, but especially with women, um, there is such a cultural pressure about how we look, more than with men. We have a whole different cultural set of issues that we're working with, which makes it tougher, I think, for a woman who is out in the world and trying to feel good about herself on a day-to-day basis. There are cultural expectations that, unfortunately, in America and pretty much in most parts of the world, it's, the value is on our appearance, especially to look young. We're supposed, that word ageless, we're supposed to never
Right.
age. We're supposed to just stay young and thin, like
And
not just
pert. Things are supposed to stay pert. We're in midlife, y'all.
everything. It's supposed to be just staying the same, right? And we're supposed to be skinny, thin. Um, we're also supposed to, well, it's we're supposed to just be pretty, and
Mm,
and so there are so many things about how we're supposed to look: young, thin, and stay pretty,
yeah,
and
stay
so it's
pretty.
just a pressure that it's hard to escape when you're from this culture. We're born into it. And so one of the things I realized early on, because I started my work as a fashion designer, and then I segued into fashion styling, but fashion designer, then brand identity, and then stylist. But I realized that for me to truly help a woman be in alignment and embody all of who she is, I had to get out of the way. I had to
Mm,
allow her to have an experience where she can go deep and she can pull whatever's inside of her that needs to come out. I'll just trust whatever it is it's supposed to. And that when we're eyeball to eyeball, we're feeling all kinds of thoughts and thinking all kinds of thoughts. So I wanted to get the eyes out of the way and
right.
move out of thinking into feeling. And that's when I realized
So good.
I need to remove sight. And I tested it one time and it was spectacular. Like the level of trust that's established at the hello, the ability to not have to get all done up, for the camera,
Right.
the comfort you can have. You can be in your pajamas under a comforter, however you want to show up, and that I'm going to do all the work. Whatever you speak of, I'm going to type it, and all you have to do is feel. Because everyone who I work with is so used to being all the way together, doing something for everyone else. People want them for something. And when they can be out of that role and someone is doing something for them, and we're focused 100% on them without sight, and they could just close their eyes and go back into memory,
Right.
that's when the magic happens. That's when I really know who they are, their identity. So my style leads with identity,
Yeah.
with I am, like who are you? And then who you're not. Because the next step is alignment. How are we going to know what fully to align to if we don't know the truth of your identity, of who you are and who you've grown into and who you're becoming?
Yes. Who you're becoming. I'm taking notes because I wrote down all you have to do is feel. And for powerhouse women who do all the time, like the feeling space is such an opportunity for growth,
Yes.
and permission. And then, yeah, who you're becoming. Like we're never staying the same version of who we are. I love that.
No, no one ever comes to me and says, I want you to just style me for
To
the
stay the
same.
same.
I just want to say the same, please. So, so no, it's never happened.
Yeah.
Um, so my styling is in three steps. It's identity first, then we move into alignment, and then embodiment. And so, but the identity piece is the foundation because who you are, there are parts of who you are and your personality and values that literally never change. Like there are parts of little Lisa at 8, you're still
Still
that
the
person,
same.
still the same,
Still the
right?
same.
And so there are some traits about us and the things that we value and just this journey, especially in midlife, some of the shifts. And those are the things that we want to align our visual voice to. And I call it a visual voice because when we show up, we're speaking on behalf of ourselves. We're saying, this is who I am. So it's back to the identity. I am. So I am sporty. I am glamorous. I am an intellectual. I am serious, or I am whatever your I ams are. That's
Yeah.
what we're aligning your visual presentation to. And then the last part is embodiment, which is the shopping and putting it together. And it's also how you put it together. So
Right.
all of that, and that all comes with embodiment, but it really is that 3-step process. And after the steps are followed, and um, and a woman feels that who she is, her identity, is aligned with how she looks, and she walks out the embodiment, her energy shifts. She
Boy,
transforms,
does it.
and the
Yes.
world transforms in how they respond to her, and her frequency is high, and things just happen like yeah. That's how it
Yeah.
happens.
It's amazing this works. I remember when we first worked together, I think my brand image style back then was glam rocker chic, which I loved. I loved it. It was so me. And then, I'm 54 now. And so I remember when we were talking about brand at this age and shopping in Paris. And I remember saying to you, like, I don't know what middle-aged sexy looks like. I'd like to know what that looks like. I don't know. I still have a rock side of me, but it's so much more subdued compared to like the chic side of me. And to me, my style is now chic edge. I don't know if you call it that, but I think that's what we've identified.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's like this piece about becoming, like, I love that evolution because I probably for the last 5 years haven't felt sexy.
Mm.
I have felt like sexy, trying to be, wanting to be sexy with my fashion meant that I was trying to be too young. And
Mhm.
I think I had some stories and shame around that. So what I love now is that I feel sexier than I've ever felt. And I texted you a picture of my Halloween costume this year where I went out on the town with a blazer and a bra and pants, obviously. But like, I've never in my life not worn a tank top, or something. And I walked out and I had a fashion tape to death, so I was covered. But I remember turning to my husband and being like, "Are you okay with this? Am I okay? Can I do?" And he was like, "You look amazing." And I wouldn't have done that in my 30s, I don't think. But because of where, with your help and your guidance, where I've gotten to is I wasn't showing too much. I wasn't trying to be a different version of myself. I was like, this is who Lisa is at this age. And I can actually comfortably embody this, and I'm good. And I felt so free that night, like walking around with my sexy. I just felt so free. And that's the gift you give, is freedom.
Freedom. I love, you know, this is what I most love, waking up to hearing things like this, the freedom. Um, yeah, there's so much you just said there, but I think a lot of women struggle with sexy over 50. Like, what does it look like? Because sexy in your 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, there's a whole different look to that we see every day. But what does it look like 50s, 60s, 70s?
Right.
And it's, I believe, so different for every woman.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I think, to feel sexy cannot be a denial of your body. You cannot feel body shame and feel sexy at the same time.
Yeah.
Cannot.
True.
Um, and when I think about you and the times that you have expressed feeling sexy, you have felt in your skin, comfortable in your body, not hiding your curves.
Yes.
You
Oh,
have
yes.
been, and you have been feeling sexy when you feel that you own your power. You have created like a look that's signature to you. The hair, it's head to toe. The
Hair.
hair,
Yes, that's the other thing is it's head to toe.
head to
Like
toe,
the
right?
hair, the makeup. Like
Yes,
I didn't I learned most recently on our Paris trip that you used to be a makeup artist. I didn't know that before. So like full package styling, it's not just the clothes.
that's why I say because it's about so much more than clothes. And so if you were to dress it all neck down, and then the hair is a totally different type of identity, you'd be looking. It has to be a blend.
Yeah.
And by the way, you'll never lose your edge. It used to be rocker, but it's expressed differently because we evolve, right? And
Yes.
so there's a boldness in you, there's a courageousness of you, just you cannot not speak your truth, right?
It's so true. It gets me in so much trouble, but that's why we're talking midlife because we gotta like speak our truth.
And I think one of the things about midlife that is so sexy is owning who you are and being okay with you, unapologetically you. And so when I see you standing for your brand, standing so proud to be able to speak your truth, having this podcast, which is, just signature you of speaking, really speaking real, right?
Yeah.
That's sexy. And it's so perfect for you. And so
Thank
every
you.
woman has a different something different about what makes her feel sexy. And so when a woman wants to find that, I think she wants to tune into the feeling of being a woman,
Yes. Oh,
whatever that is. And for me, it's my femininity. I love when I feel, a certain different types of my femininity, but when I feel comfortable in my femininity, I feel sexy. Because it feels like my superpower to have that. And then your femininity, your feeling like a woman is a different slant on that.
yes.
Yet another woman next to us would be yet again different. So
I met
very
a
personal.
woman. I met a woman at a holiday party last night. She's 70 and she looked so fucking sexy last night. She was in skinny jeans and a blazer. But let me tell you, she had some heels on that you and I would not wear. Like I was like, you're 70 and wearing those heels. God bless you. Like I was like, don't your feet hurt? And she's like, no. And I was like, you're doing something right, lady. And we bonded because I was like, she was like, you're sexy. I was like, you're sexy. And you know what we bonded over? Because you've heard me talk about this. We bonded over our vintage vaginas.
I love that phrase. A vintage vagina.
So, for anyone who hasn't heard me talk about vintage vaginas, I lovingly refer to my lady parts as she's vintage now because she can only handle so much. And I have to get real with my husband about that. And he's very supportive of my vintage. But I was talking to this sexy 70-year-old in these rockin' stilettos last night. She's like, yeah, I've been wearing them all week. I'm like, God bless you. But we started to talk about sex and she's like, oh yeah, I can't, I just can't take it. And so like, I kind of like, she was making a lot of excuses and she and her husband were about to go on vacation together. And I was like, maybe you should talk to him about your vintage. And she
Yeah.
was like, I love this. I'm going to talk to him about my vintage vagina. So when we were exchanging information, because she's like, I want to keep talking. I was like, I texted her. I was like, hey, Lisa, let's talk more about our vintage vaginas.
Yeah, that is such a healing phrase because I think there's so much shame as we age. Then we're not sexual beings anymore. I find we're more sexual beings in different ways,
Yeah.
and how we manage our vintage vaginas and our hormones and our association with our body. Confidence is so sexy. And if we're feeling shame about any parts of our body, it's hard to feel confident. And it's then hard to be sexy and feel like not be sexy, but feel sexy. And so
Yeah.
sexy is, I think, an energy.
It is, and it does, and it evolves. It evolves as we evolve. So, like, I'm in the era where vintage can only handle so much action. And so we have visiting hours, and it's not an hour, it's minutes, but
but you're on a journey with a man who's also in midlife. So
Yes. And
that's,
we explore his whatever his vintage is, and
yes,
I won't disclose his because that's private for him, but
yeah,
um it's such an epic and juicy topic, and we've gone off topic again because that's how you and I roll. When we get talking. But I do want to go back to this piece because I think there's so much fun and transformation that happens in a photo shoot for a woman who probably for the first time or maybe in a new era is owning her brand style. So and you have styled me for many a photo shoot, and every time it's a transformation. So I'd love to just hear you talk about that kind of work that you do with women.
with photo shoots in particular.
Yeah, photo shoot styling,
Okay.
photo shoot shopping, the journey that you support them in.
Okay. What's so interesting to me, the first thing is when a woman, many women, will book a photo shoot and think that, well, I got this. And so they will do all the things, they all the things to prepare for the photo shoot, but they'll often save themselves for last with the clothes. And by the time they start leaning into that, they're putting their outfits together. And I have so often received calls of, I need your help. And they're like, by the time they call me, we have a shorter window.
Yeah.
Because truly, styling for a photo shoot is different than styling for a party, and you're not expecting cameras, and it's not about your brand, and in the way that it's going to be a static, living piece of your brand asset, right? So, styling for photo shoots is a completely on its own type of a process than anything else. And I think there are so many parts of it that women just never knew until now they know. Uh, it's a focus on yourself that is very unnatural because it's all
Right?
right. It
You're in the spotlight, literally.
literally. And then you have what, 3, 4 outfits to make a statement about this is who I am.
Right.
And with all the ways that you will be using those photos because you want to, get a lot of mileage from it. So in photo shoots, one of the things that I start with is the same process. It's identity, alignment, and embodiment. But we have to first identify what her goal is, how she's using the photos, what is the story she wants to say about herself. But we have to understand who she is in her own mind, how she identifies with herself. And now I'm able to understand from her voice who she is. And of course, I'm doing this, without visual. So I'm tuning into what she's saying, how she's saying it, where there's deep
Wow.
emotion, where there's fear, where there's disappointment, where there are experiences from the past that created pain and are still with her.
Yes,
So
those
that's creating
stories.
stories. Those create blocks. So she's not fully free yet. And we address those. We move them out of her story now and we rewrite that story. So now we're starting at a place where we have open possibilities. And so after the identity piece is placed, and then, we understand her colors, I do a process where I create a palette that's based on your personality. And then we move into the alignment. So now, who are you as it's interpreted or translated through style? So we take those personality traits, those values, and we can apply it to it looks like this in
Yes.
terms of clothing, in terms of hair, in terms of
Yes.
accessories. And so it becomes accurate, an accurate version. Because truly, I mean, if I'm a costumer, I could style you for any part that you're playing. So,
Right. But it's being
right?
specific to what's the part you want to play.
And is it true, real, and authentic? Because when it's
Yes.
authentic and honest and real, you feel different when you put it on, and the world feels that too. We
Yes.
always have this kind of little spidey sense that goes up when we feel that someone's uncomfortable in their skin. and it makes the audience uncomfortable. But when a woman is like fully, truly, honestly her in that expression, then she gets comfortable in her body. The world is comfortable and can receive her, and there you feel the authenticity. And then we go shopping. And when we're photo shoot shopping, it's all about it has to be
Yes.
in the style, in the color, and in the fit. Fit is everything.
Fit is everything for photo shoots. Well, in general, but yeah, especially for photo shoots.
Even
I
more.
remember one time, this was back when we were pitching my breakup books as a reality series. And I can't remember what network it was, but basically I hired you and I was like, I'm going in for a meeting with them. But I think even before that, we needed photos that like mirrored their brand because my brand didn't match their brand. And so it was more, I don't know if it was Bravo or WeTV or whatever it was, but you so masterfully I still remember this. You said, so Lisa, personalities on this channel, whatever it was, either have pageant hair or edgy short hair. And I was like, well, I'm not going to rock some pageant hair. So like we needed to do something to edge up my hair. And that became like my North Star for how I wanted my hair for the rest of my life, because it didn't matter that that show didn't go. I discovered that I was playing it a little safe with my hair. And where I really love to express myself, my hair is my thing. I don't got a lot of it, and certainly in midlife there's less of it, but my hair is my thing, and I need to feel like it expresses me accurately.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, I have two things to say about that. Your hair is signature to you, and it's speaking a story about a part of you that's very much authentically you. That
Yeah,
little bit of edge,
gotta
that
have
little
it.
bit of edge, got to have it. My hair is speaking a story of the softness that I
When
carry
you're,
in my work. It's just, yeah, thank you, Paris.
I
Because
know we both got.
we both have our Paris hair on.
We do.
Uh, and so, and so if you and I swapped hairstyles, it would not be authentic to us,
So interesting.
right?
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, I love that, because you are having your best hair moment in this era.
Thank you. And as well as you are. And it is authentic. We work with someone who has very much a very similar process to my styling. When he is sitting with a woman, he puts his hands in her hair. He's very quiet. Took you a minute to get used to his quietness because
Yes,
he's
same.
really he's feeling you. He's feeling
He's like
your
you.
personality.
He's doing the gentle approach.
Very.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you feel seen in a very interesting way. He is taking all of you in, the traits about your personality when you're speaking and just the way you step into his chair. And he was telling me the story one day of how he ended up, being able to style you to perfection for exactly who you are and me. I'm like, okay, Joe, please spill the tea on how is it that you're so incredibly diverse in the styles. He's not a Me Too kind of where you and I would get
No.
the same thing. But that's what he's doing. And he's really taking it all in. But it's just the honesty of it. I had a client who, when she came to me, she said, I find that people are so surprised by me when they meet me. And they don't, like, they're shocked because they thought I was a different way. Well, when we
Oh,
looked at how she was showing up online, because of course I don't see her, right?
right.
But she's sharing her story, and she was wearing pearls, a sweater set, sometimes jeans, sometimes a nice, clean little pair of slacks. Um, but she was an F bomb queen, like to talk with her. And I'm like, what? And so
Interesting.
right? And so she was wearing a style that she thought was appropriate, that had come from a background of her parental influence with a mom who was super classic and conservative.
Right.
And she thought, and also these little sweaters kind of hits and things. And pearls were, just what she thought she would wear. And I realized she's visually showing up as one person, which completely does not represent the edginess and the real story of who she is. And not that she doesn't have other parts of her in there too. She's not all edge.
Right.
But there was nothing about her edge that was even giving us a tip off.
Interesting.
And no warning. And then you're on the phone with her and she's just like,
dropping F-bombs.
Right. And so that's an example of how the clarity of identifying, who you are and marrying it to a style, which is what I do. I interpret it, but getting
like no one else. You do it like no one else.
Thank you. That's the juice for me. It's like figuring it out. Like that's my greatest challenge, and like that I love. And so just for her to be like, oh wow, that's what it is. They think I'm one way, but I'm really this way. So then it becomes the courage to just embody yourself with who you really are, your real identity, so that you're accurate. When you're putting yourself out there, you're accurate now. And there's no.
How did she feel?
She was shocked. Like she didn't even see that she was out of alignment. Completely not. She thought, because I think, and she was in her 50s by the time we worked together. But I think and her community that she lived in was conservative.
Right.
So she was a blend of her environment. And
right.
Because her husband bought the house there. So you can see how this all. And
interesting.
So she was at first a little afraid to be her because it, like all the parts of our brain.
That's so relatable.
Right. What if people reject me for being too edgy, or I don't fit into my community anymore, or my husband thinks I'm too much and, he's used to me this way, or, all the things that are natural that go off in our mind when we're stepping into a new place. Only because it's new and we're saying, this is who I am.
But also because, to your earlier point, it's not just about clothes.
It's about so much more.
It really encompasses everything. Oh my God.
Everything.
How her transformation, tell us, like, what was that like?
It was so much fun for me because once it truly landed, and we have to sit with it. I think a lot of people think if I work with you, you're going to make me get rid of all my clothes. You're going to turn me into something else. Or you might make me like a clone of you, or whatever all the fears are. And the truth is, I feel like I'm divinely led to do this work and allow space for you to be able to express what it is that you're ready for. There's never any pushing. There's never any telling. There's simply more guiding and sharing and being able to drop these things that I am basically using your language, and I will give you back what I just heard, and then allow you the space to let it sink in inside. And it's got to.
This is your magic, because it is not, you're so right. It is not you in pushing upon or forcing upon. You are translating what we're broadcasting and making it into a visual tapestry. It's incredible. I still remember where I was when first time you told me, and it was a phone call. We were not on video, and you were like, you need to wear pencil skirts and skinny jeans to celebrate your shape. And I wanted to hang up that phone. I was like, I will never do that. And even though you can only see me from the waist up, I am in some skinny jeans today. Because you were right, but I was mad for a hot minute.
You were. It took you a minute because there was a settling into like, because we have so many rules in our head.
Well, it was how dare you how dare you tell me to become the thing I'm most afraid of, which is visible, and to celebrate my shape, but I'm in shame about my shape. And I remember you even told me, like, Lisa, a pear is the most men whiplash the most over a pear shape. And I was like, no, they don't, because I just didn't believe it. I mean, so the stories, the epic stories.
Stories.
I want to make sure we talk about this because we will probably get cut off in 10 minutes. Hormones. How are you navigating midlife hormonally? What's working for you that you want to share?
Okay, now are part of many conversations. When I turned 40, early 40s is when my hormones crashed, and there was very little out there. But I have come to respect and believe everything in my being, that everything about how we operate in life right now is all on the system and the program of our hormones. It affects our energy, our brain, our sleep, our thoughts, our sex drive, I mean, literally our skin texture, quality, tone, our
All of
muscle,
it.
literally. And I'm so thank you for bringing up hormones because it is a big part of life for me. Of
You've taught me so much about it. You were at the forefront of having conversations about hormones. So I'm grateful to you.
Thank you for that because it was so painful when my hormones were out of alignment, were out of not alignment, but out of balance.
Yeah.
And I went to one doctor after another, and I different kinds of answers. Oh, let me give you birth control pills. Oh, let me give you Prozac. Oh, no, that's just aging. Let me give you nothing. Just different things. And it wasn't until I found the angel of a doctor who said, "Oh, honey, you're having such an imbalance in your hormones. Let me take these tests." She did a saliva test, a blood test. She was looking at things no one had talked about.
Wow.
And she said, "This is an art and a science. We have to understand. It's not like a quick fix, and your body will settle in. We'll find the right levels for you. Are you comfortable with the time frame of the pay?" I'm all in.
Yeah.
So it took about a year to find the right balance, but once I did, everything just settled perfectly. I was able. I mean, I sleep sometimes 8, 10 hours. I mean,
Sleep is my
routinely.
favorite thing. You know this.
We like because when you're unbalanced, you wake up at that bewitching hour of 3 a.m. and you
That
can't go back
goddamn 3 a.m.
at 3 a.m. And I learned from my doctor that's the estrogen hour. That's hormonal.
Okay.
And so when you're balanced, you sleep through the night. You sleep like a baby. And when you sleep, it restores everything in your body overnight, night after night after night. And so you live the life that you dream of because you're balanced. You can do things. My hair was falling out. I had acne all over my face. I gained 60 pounds. It was all because my hormones were imbalanced.
And I mean, I feel like we're in a new era where more and more and more people are talking about this era for us, midlife. Thank God.
Thank God.
Thank you
Oh,
for
for
being a
sure.
trailblazer.
Yeah, way before, like when I was coming into all of this, yeah, it was just like, and the title of your show, is the word midlife in it. And so midlife at that time, that was how many years ago? I'm 64 as of the airing of this. It was a long time ago. And I didn't relate to the word midlife because all the imagery was of gray hair
Yes.
and
Best is behind you.
retirement,
Give up.
right? And
Let the body go.
it was all about decline. And
Right.
and I was so shocked that to be over 50, once I got into mid 50s or so, I'm like, wow, I am in midlife and I am better because of it. Like
Yes.
I didn't realize like the rhetoric that was coming at me was all about decline. I didn't realize that so much gets better, so much gets
So
stronger.
much. So much.
Much is better. Like I wouldn't trade this time of life for anything. This is like my favorite. And I've had
I
some
love
good
it.
decades.
So, what are a couple things that make this your favorite era? Like, what do you love about midlife? Yeah.
Well, what I love what I love so much about midlife is I love that I'm more loving. Like I always thought I was loving before.
Really? I find that hard to believe. You've always
I'm
been
more
so
loving.
loving.
And think that I'm more loving because I feel time now. Like I
Oh,
think I had a disrespect of time. I thought I got all the time in the world, right? And now, as I'm older, I have so much respect for time, and it's so precious, and how I use it, and who I want to spend it with, and how I
right.
want to speak with that person in front of me. And I have the gift of time with them, and I want them to know how I feel about them, and I want to be loving with them. And I just care so much about relationships at this stage more than ever, because to have beautiful friendships and loving partners and people in our lives. Many of us don't have parents anymore,
Right.
you know. So mortality and just things, I just look at things differently, and I have so much more gratitude.
Yes. Oh, I think that's
So
my
much
favorite
more.
thing. The
Like
gratitude.
like every single day, I am grateful for so many things that I just took for granted before.
Right.
And
Right.
I think something else I love, love, love is that trust more. Like I trust my inner self, my inner knowing. I trust that if something is not happening for me, it's not for me, or not for
Yes.
me right now. And I can be patient. And I'm like, okay, or maybe something different and better. Maybe it's just
Right.
not my time for that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just, or whatever, or something comes into my life. It's because I feel like there was something that is there meant for me right now, right here. And even if I
Mm,
think, okay, let me get ready for that, I'm ready. But I trust that I am. And so
I love
trust
the
has
trust.
been, so I don't second guess like I used to when I was younger. And I love that. So I think that my energy is more peaceful because my
Yes.
internal is like, no, I slow down in a good way. I do everything, I can still do everything I've always done. Recovery is a little more. I build in recovery after, but I think the slowing is, it's like it kind of reminds me of Paris too. They take life slower than here in the US. They will sit,
I'm trying to get back to.
right? Those coffee, moments at cafes, they sit and they observe,
They
and
linger,
they
they
are
savor,
they sit and they're present, like so present. They're
it
not on
feels
their phone.
luxurious, like they luxuriate with time.
Yes, yes. And as far as time, there is enough. Like I'm not going
Yes.
to have any kind of anxiety about I gotta, no, I'm going to know that right now I'm in the perfect moment for this moment. And I'm going to take this in, and then I'll move to the next moment. But I just think that can only happen with age.
Mm. Well said. Oh my God, Sybil. What? I mean, obviously, we know each other. We could talk for hours. But
Our chats.
I love our chats too. They're some of my favorite. For the context of this chat, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for saying yes and sharing your brilliance so fully with us today.
Oh, thank you for sharing your voice with the world on this platform you've created. Thank you for inviting me to be a part of your world on this incredible space that you have. I love your background. It's so perfect for you.
Thank you.
It's so cool. And just being able to have these conversations and to share ourselves with the world is so important, because I know that for me, I'm looking at women older than me. Like you mentioned the 70-year-old lady, and it inspires you, right? We need to see women who are taking up space in the world, showing
We
up
do.
proud and strong and confident, and speaking their voice with their truth, and
Yeah.
showing up fabulous. Like, and honest.
Yeah, she was doing her, we're doing us. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, in case we get cut off, I want to thank everyone for tuning in to this episode of Welcome to Midlife, the search for meaning in the middle. This is a continuation of a conversation we will continue to have because it is so juicy and epic, and there's so much to explore in midlife. So thanks for joining us today. And Sybil, again, thank you for being here. I'm so grateful.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I